been killing yourself for 3 years now, right? What are you worried about? What's the biggest thing you got to worry about?
I'm worried about the weight.
You worried about the weight?
What are we arguing about for? I just said the weight.
All day. It's now like 4:30. I slept virtually the entire day, off and on. I only sleep for like 2 hours at a time, then I wake up. But kept going back to sleep. I was like exhausted. So I'm saying to myself, was last night at some kind of turning point? So that's why I was exhausted. If it was, I don't know what it was. I don't see how it was. If last night was some kind of turning point, I don't see it. I don't see it, but maybe it was. Maybe that's why I slept so long. At any rate, what I want to say is, I was thinking about this person. Is she? I've been calling Bashuasi. Is she a bisexual woman? Well, I suddenly decided, there's this woman I think is like the ideal woman of Western civilization. I don't want to say her name in connection with this. And I said to myself, the way her hair was done in this very famous movie she's in, I said, that's not really the way women generally tended to wear their hair, even at that time. So I was saying to myself, it looks kind of like a statement of some kind. And so I asked online, was this woman a bisexual woman? And I got back the same answer that I got when I asked that question about Christopher Plummer. I got back the answer that some people have thought that she is. So in other words, it wasn't like something that came back to me like, no, there's no question she's definitely not a bisexual woman. She's this, that, and the other, and there's never been any suspicions that she is such a woman, so no, that she's not. But that's not the answer that I got. The answer that I got was a lot of people have suspected she might be. And certain roles she was playing later in life suggest that she might be. Now, I asked online separately, how does a woman deal with being a bisexual if she's married to a heterosexual man? How does she deal with that? And I got back the answer that she should involve herself like in activities that somehow stand up for the, like LGBTQ or something, whatever. I don't know whatever that is. LGBTQ or something, meaning, I guess, lesbian, bisexual, queer rights. She should get involved in that, in groups like that. And that will help her deal with being a bisexual woman. And then I saw that this woman, who I think is like the ideal of women in Western civilization. This is the ideal woman. This is the most beautiful white woman in Western civilization. I read that she's involved in groups like that, and she was playing these roles that had to do with those issues in plays. And there were some very, very risque roles she was playing where she like exposed her breasts on stage, and wow, this is a far cry from the character she played in this famous movie when she was younger. I said, wow. So it looks clear to me. It's clear as day to me that she is actually a bisexual woman. Now, this is the woman that I felt privately. I haven't read this I haven't read it or described this way by anybody else, but I haven't read anything about her, let's face it. I never saw people talking about her that she was the ideal woman of Western civilization the way I think of her. So, it seems that, I was right. Now, what I want to say here is that I'm saying that I was repeatedly raped while growing up, okay? But I had no interest in homosexuality and no interest in bisexuality as a male. I had zero interest in such things. The best way I can say it is thoughts of that kind were not in my universe at all. They didn't exist in my world. And they still don't. Okay, so I've also said that, because of these male rapes that happened to me that I didn't even know it happened, I found myself the focus of unwanted interest by gays over and over again. So as I've said, if I wanted to be gay, man, or bisexual or anything like that, I've had every opportunity on earth over and over to be that way. And I don't want it. In fact, every time I get in a situation where it's like, I'm counting to 10 with a man, I'm there. You're counting to 10. Jeez, let me the hell out of here. But I'm saying I wander into these things. Now, I don't know why. It's not because I'm interested. I'd say that society, that the way that the human beings interact with each other, it's like people are like turning off gates all around me because they see me a certain way. And that's leading me toward these homosexual experiences that I don't have, but it's leading me toward homosexuals because people see me and they shut the gate. The gates are shutting, and so I'm moving toward these type of people because other people are saying no, and that's how I end up there. It's not because I have this interest and I'm looking for it. No, that's not it. It's what I'm saying is my appearance is getting these things to happen. And however I'm emoting that, sure, I do that all the time. I'm saying, unconsciously I'm saying to everybody, yeah, I do that all the time. But I don't even know. I'm saying this is my theory now. So, those are my thoughts in that area. That's all. And I'm saying this woman here, who is my ideal woman, appears to be a bisexual woman. So if the woman I'm calling Bishuasi is bisexual, that is in keeping with the woman I feel is like the ideal woman in the Western world. She turns out to be a bisexual. Now, I haven't done much research into this woman, but as far as I know, she was married to a heterosexual man. Was he a bisexual? I don't know anything about the man she married, but she stayed married to him for quite a long time. I don't know if he's still alive, but I am no bisexual. I am not. And so if Bishuasi is, well, it looks to me like it can work. It can work, even though I'm not one, and I have no interest in that area. In fact, I got to say, the idea of me and another man is it makes my flesh crawl. Now, people are going to argue with that. Why? Because they see these, it's person to person. I don't know if anything comes off in these videos, and I don't know how I look in these videos to other people, but person to person, they keep seeing your whole body's saying no to what you're saying. Well, it's saying no, possibly because, as I've said before, I was put to sleep, like with ether and God knows what else, and kept asleep and then raped. So what they're seeing, this is my theory, is, well, he had this sex. He clearly had this kind of sex. And there's no, like, struggle or anything like that. Maybe I even enjoyed it. I don't even know. I have no idea. But so people are seeing that, these unconscious signs that are like a denial of everything I'm saying, right? Like, my flesh crawls at the idea. It does. Which means what? Had that's not happened to me, I just would have been a normal heterosexual man, that's all. There's nothing extraordinary about my feelings in this area. These are the feelings of a normal heterosexual man. They're not interested in that kind of thing. They're just not. And it's not a big deal. It's not something to be proud of or anything of the kind. It's just a fact. I got 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head, and I'm a heterosexual. That's all. So, those are my thoughts this morning, but I'm saying to myself, okay, if Bishuasi is bisexual, that's not going to keep me from getting along with her. Now, as I'm talking along here, well, I'm not going to say more. Let me just stop and say that I slept all day after last night. When I went out to my trailer to try to sleep, and I didn't sleep at all, I was up all night, and 2 cars came down the road of my street, which is a terrace street, right? So, look, a terrace street leads nowhere, okay? It makes a loop back to the main road, and this is like 1 block, so no one is going to come down this street unless they live here or they have business to do here, right? And then we're talking 12:26 a.m. and the other time was 3. I wrote these down. Maybe I did it, maybe I didn't. 3. I don't remember now. Or 2 something. 2. Anyway, in the middle of the night, only 2 cars go down the street, and they're not cars from people who live on the block. So who were they? Well, they're either Bishuasi driving by my house, or the bad guys trying to deceive me. Because the bad guys want to prove that I'm crazy, so that I'm not a credible witness against them. So they're constantly trying to deceive me and destroy me. They'd like to kill me if they could. They've tried and failed a number of times. And so, instead of that, this designation that I'm a certified nut, okay? Well, they see everything I've done over the past 40 years gives the lie to that. So they're back to try to see if they can get that again on me, get me to do some wild, crazy things that get me thrown in a mental prison, and then it's over. He said, yeah, he says he didn't have this mental disease, and there he is, back in a mental prison. Forget him, he is crazy the way they said he was. So this is the struggle I'm in at the end of my life. Okay, let me go on defending myself, okay? I've had experiences, like I say, that can fill a 1,000-page book on all the queers that have been around me, doing all kinds of things to try to get me interested in that queer way of sex. And I have no interest. Now, people are saying, oh, thou dost protest too much. That was a favorite of my mother's. No, that's not true. You know what is too much? All these experiences that I don't want. That's too much. And by the time I'm an old man, I figured out why I've been having them, okay? So I alone have been going through this thing against an adversarial reality that's tried to kill me with it, okay? So here's some more in the area of unwanted, what I'm calling queer experiences, unwanted, okay? Now, I'm 14 or 15, and I got this cousin. I'm not going to say who it was. I got more than one cousin, so no one knows who I mean here, okay? And I noticed this guy is walking around me with a heart on, okay? Now, I was in delayed maturation, okay? That doesn't mean anything as far as I might understand these things. I've been, sexually attracted to women before I hit puberty. I had sexual feelings even around women. And I wasn't in puberty, so you don't need that. So, this guy is walking around me with a heart on. Was I interested in all? I was saying, what is this? And that was my answer. What are you doing? Hey, stop that. Okay? Now, another time, the same cousin, we're sleeping in the same room, and he's in the bed next to me, and he's got a heart on. And he's saying to me, it feels so good when I rub my, let's call it my member, against the bed like this, or against the pillow. It feels so good, he's telling me. Now, if I was a queer or had any interest in that, I would be interested. And was I interested? I'm saying, it does. Okay, great. Okay, and I don't want to even hear that from the guy, okay? But I wasn't angry. I was just, okay. Then, okay. Now, I was in high school now, okay? And I'm sleeping over at a friend's house. He wasn't much of a friend, but this was the year I was at that Catholic high school for 1 year in the neighborhood where I was born, I want to point out. We're laying in this bed, okay, in the basement of his house, and he throws his arm around me. I was 17 years old. You know what I did? I took his arm like this and said, hey, hug your dog, okay? I said, don't do that. Now, look, I've had even up close and personal, okay, this kind of thing. Now, here's another one. I'm hitchhiking down to Florida trying to escape the man of the year when I'm 18 years old. I would have just turned 19. And I'm hitchhiking down to Florida to escape, okay? And I'm in this southern town just north of Florida, whatever the state that is, I don't even know. And it's late. It may be 11 o'clock at night. And this car picks me up because you take a ride this far, that far. And I was still hitchhiking like 11 o'clock at night. Well, this car slows down, picks me up. And it's clearly a gay man. Okay? He's not big in stature or anything. He's kind of smallish and he's thin, but he's clearly gay. And the car smells like what? Like women's perfume. That's what it smells like in the car. And I get in and I think, up. And so I ride with this guy a couple of blocks, and I'm thinking, And I'm thinking, I'm out of this. This is weird. So I say to the guy, you can let me out right up there. It's in the middle of the night. So he stops the car and he's going to let me out. And he's going to open the door for me. So he puts his hand on my thigh. He goes like this, and then he opens the door. Now, if I was a queer, I could have taken him up on that, right? Did I want to? No, I didn't. I got out of that car, and that was the end of that. Okay, now, here's another one. I'm in Spain. It's 1976, so I'm 22 years old, and I guess I'm in Madrid or Barcelona, one of the two. I don't remember now. And I get off the train, and I go into this plaza where there's a big fountain that's dry because it's wintertime, but there are all kinds of people out there. It's approaching spring. And it's a warm day, and people are all gathered out there in that plaza, sitting along the ledge of that fountain. It's quite a large ledge that snakes around the plaza there by the station. And I'm sitting there looking at my map, thinking, I don't know where I am. Where am I going to find a hotel? I'm looking. and two men come down and sit on either side of me, okay? And I'm thinking, this is kind of strange, okay? But I thought, well, maybe there's no other place for them to sit, so I'm going looking at my map, trying to figure out. So suddenly, these men are like in their 30s, okay? Suddenly, one of them, the one on this side, and it's his right hand, but I can't do it that way. I'm sitting there, and he goes like this on my leg, just like that, and holds his hand there. What did I do? I did this. I got up and I walked away from there as fast as I could, thinking, I hope to God this guy doesn't follow me. Now, were there any thoughts in my mind for anything like, no, there weren't. Okay, let's go on. When I'm needing a job while I'm in college, I wander into this bookstore. I've told this one over and over. It's in Montgomery Mall, and I wander in there, and I thought, oh, maybe I can work at a bookstore. So I say to the lady, you need any help here? And the lady says, well, just a minute. Let me ask the manager. And they hire me. And, well, I start to work there. And who am I going to work side by side with for 2 years? An openly gay man, 2 years older than me, who's going to try to convert me to gay for 2 years. Does he have any success? None. Okay? And I even said to myself, look, I'm not going to hold against this guy that he's gay, okay? I'll be his friend. But it wasn't going to happen. I went out with him a time or two, and he was wanting to be gay, so I said, this stops. Okay, and then I've told this one many times too. I got lots of others, but these are some of the most dramatic. And I'm up at the school there, University of Maryland, in their housing office, because I used to live off campus. And this was for library school. When I was around 25 years old, I was going to go to library school, get a library, what's it called, a library scientist degree, because no one was hiring me with my master's degree in American literature, so I thought, a library science, I can be a librarian, and that'll be a job that I can get, and be a writer. That'll be my day job, librarian, and I'll be a writer on the side. So I'm in the housing office, and I call up I say, there's a room near the university here. Great. I call up, and I'm talking to this guy who sounds like a gay, right? But, so what? And so as I'm saying, I said, well, do you have like a hot plate in the room or something like that where I could heat like milk in the morning? I like to drink hot milk in the morning when I wake up. And I don't realize now, all these years later, I say, to a queer, this may be symbolic language, but I wasn't thinking of any such thing. That is what I had for breakfast. Hot milk or warm milk like that is what I was having for breakfast, along with some bread or something, whatever it was. And so he's saying, okay. I said, well, you want the room now? You want to see the room now? I said, yeah, I can walk over there right now, be there like in 15 minutes. He says, okay. So I walk over there from the housing office, and I'm walking along the sidewalk of the street. It's right near Fraternity Road there. I think, wow, what a location, great. And this couple that's walking along the sidewalks asked me a question of some kind of, where is somewhere? I say, oh, it's over there, whatever. So then I look over and I see this guy coming toward me in a Speedo bathing suit. There are no pools there. Look, my grandfather lived not far from there, okay? And I know that area from birth. There were no pools there unless maybe the University of Maryland had a pool somewhere around there. I don't think so. Maybe it did, but was he a university student? He wasn't. So he's in a Speedo bathing suit, and he's going to take me up to the attic of this house, this empty house, to show me this room. So as soon as I see his behavior, I'm thinking to myself, I'm out of here. So I thought, oh yeah, this is great. I said, listen, I'll call you, whatever, and that was it. Now, I could fill a 1,000-page book. These are just experiences that occur to me right off. And I have no interest in such matters, okay? None. And people, one of my mother's favorite quotes was, "Methinks thou dost protest too much," okay? Which means you really want what you're saying you don't want. No, that is not true. I'm saying the explanation in my case is bizarre. The explanation in my case, I finally figure out as an old man. You see, I'm an old man. I've had a life of suffering and tragedy because of this. And we're going to laugh about it, right? Including me. And the explanation is bizarre, okay? I was raped repeatedly while asleep. Now, preceding these rapes was like a 5-hour browbeating, but the man who was going to rape me was supposed to have been my father. He wasn't. He wasn't my biological father, and that's where he felt he had the license to do this to me. I'm figuring this out, right? So I take like a 5 or 6 hour browbeating. What did you say to me? Listen, his son never did what you did. What the hell is he talking about? His son went to Harvard University. That's what his son did. The guy's drunk, and he's got me there for 5 or 6 hours in a goddamn CIA interrogation of some kind of a horrific person who's going to go to prison or whatever. And I was the best student by far in the family, the best athlete by far, the most popular, the most well-liked, the most gregarious, whatever. I was all these things. I was successful, beloved kid, and I came in for these browbeatings every month or two when I'm just getting raked over the coals by this drunk while the rest of the family just disappears. 5 or 6 hours I've taken this. I don't know what to say to the guy. And the end of these things is what? He says, okay, you can go. I get up, and what does he do? He walks behind me down the steps and into my room. Meanwhile, I'm walking on eggshells, right? There's not a thing I can say that doesn't bring on this incredibly vitriolic response from him, which is totally inappropriate to anything I've ever done or thought or wanted to do, but I'm being subjected to this, so I get undressed for bed. I used to sleep in my t-shirt, my underwear, and I got in bed, and he would sit down next to my ankles on the bed, and he'd be going like this to my legs. He'd be going like this, and he'd be saying, "You're gonna be great. You're gonna be great." And I'm thinking, I'm gonna be great. I said, "Thanks, Dad." I can hardly talk to this guy, but I'm thinking, would he get the hell out of here? For Christ's sake, you're gonna be great. And then he would leave. So then what he would do, he would come back and rape me. And he would do it with ether that he got from the hospital. He was a medical doctor, a radiologist. So he showed me how he etherized my little hamster in a science experiment that was his idea. So he must have done me the same way. Anyway, so I'm raped. And because of these rapes, and because, here's my theory, there's no sign of unconscious struggle. Like, let's say I was raped in prison or something, or raped in a dormitory, and the whole experience was conscious, then maybe the unconscious communications people get when I'm telling them, hey, I was raped unconsciously without saying anything, but I'm thinking that, and so I'm doing things that indicate I was raped and so on. And my expressions, this is all theory of mine, are telling the person, and I was struggling like hell against this rape. I didn't want it, and you can see that I didn't want it in my unconscious communications, but they're not getting any of that. So what are they getting? They're getting, this guy clearly was involved in homosexual acts. I can see his behavior. And I guess he liked it, because there's no indication of struggle or anything kind. And they're asking unconscious questions. And Here's the one that I used to put words to. Did you do it? This is the unconscious question that would come to me. And I'm thinking to myself, the person is non-verbally asking me the question, did I do it? And I'm thinking, did I do what? Well, did I do that? Yeah, I guess I did do that, but I wouldn't have done that. And I've shown that even after having done that, which is I was raped, I had zero interest in this. And I'm not protesting too much. I had zero interest. That is a fact about me. I'm a normal heterosexual man. And I've been persecuted across my lifetime, isolated, ostracized, and punished repeatedly for inappropriate behavior to someone who clearly wants to be gay and is denying it. Well, that is not me, and I'm an old man. I've figured it out. Is that you, Chris? And we want justice.